Hey, I'm Birdie from the Gun Makers, and today I'm going to be wood turning this segmented vase with 300 segments. During this project, I was doing a lot of parts at the same time. Like I was turning the first couple rings while I was still gluing up the accent. But in the video, the first part will be making the rings, the second part will be making the accent, and the third part will be turning it. I have some maple and walnut, and I'm going to start by ripping them to the width of my segments. I made a drawing of what I'm going to be making, and I listed all the rings in order of their width. So I'm going to start with 1, and that's the widest piece, and then I can re-rip the scrap and use it for 2, and then continue that all the way down to 6, which is my skinniest segment. I want 12 segments in each ring, so I'm going to set the miter saw to 15 degrees. So, I plan to do both accent glue-ups, but we only had enough F-style clamps for one, so I'll start gluing up the rings while the first accent's drying, and then hopefully when I'm done with these, I can glue up the second one. The miter saw wasn't perfectly exact, so there was a little gap, so I used these little maple shims, just cut to 15 degrees in the miter saw, and I only glued up half. So now I'm going to belt sand this flat and this flat, and they should mate together perfectly. Then I sanded the rest of the halves of the rings. Okay, so now it's time to drum sand my rings flat, and I made this quick jig for the drum sander. These pieces are really small and they tend to get stuck in the sander because the rollers aren't as close to the drum. So with this long sled, I can push it through and then pull it through on this and the other side. And these two sort of like backers are at a wedge so that the ring can't roll off and like shoot back or get stuck. I just finished drum sanding and this jig worked great. Now I'm going to start to glue the layers together in sections of like 2 or 3. Now we're going to start working on the accent ring. I rough milled some maple and walnut, and now we're going to cut the angle on the maple. Now I am ready to glue up my accent strips. Now that those rings are drying on their second glue up, I'm going to plane my 2 accent glue ups, and then I can glue them together. This project's turning to a lot of just small cuts and a lot of glue. Some room to cut it off. Now I'm going to glue the accents like this. So now we get the endgrain pattern of a little angle. Cut it in the middle, flip it, so hopefully we'll get a rhombus looking design. And stop. And this was one of the biggest problems in this glue up. As you can see, the piece on the right was very bowed. This caused problems in clamping, as the piece didn't want to clamp straight and wanted to move, and I had to clamp from both sides. Before I drum sand the rings, I'm going to plane and re-glue my accent. test fit my accent ring off camera, and now it is time to glue it up. So It's been half an hour. I'm going to take these out of the hose clamps and sand the halves, and then I can glue both halves together. So the two halves of the ring were glued up like this. So I'm going to sand one piece like this and one piece like this, just so that this table is out of square. They cancel out when I glue it together. This is similar to how you would joint boards.
But this one's
base plate onto the lathe, and now I'm going to spin it up just to see if it's centered. I only did 2 screws, so if it's not that centered, it's not that big of a deal to take it off and just change it. Oh shoot, it's flipping blue. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take it back off, put the rest of the screws in, and I can start turning these first segments. I'm going to glue on the next 2 rings. I think I'm going to put some cardboard on the bed, and I'll just glue it and clamp it to the base plate. Now I'm going to unclamp the bowl, or the vase on the lathe. just finished the turning, and now I'm going to start sanding and polishing, and this might take a minute. So the vase is sanded up to 1000 grit, and now I'm going to use polishing compound and some wax.
I need to put this photo from that.
This was a super fun project, and I look forward to doing more segmented wood turning in the future.